So, playoffs? There are those who believe, certainly in that room.
Come on, Tinkerbell.
Hold on. Tinkerbell.
Fairy dust.
Like my hair, now I'm Tinkerbell. Okay. Look, hey, there's no question the Toronto Maple Leafs have a mathematical chance. Now, granted, games remaining, as you saw in the graphic, 15 games remaining. That is a problem. But I'm going to tell you why the Toronto Maple Leafs have a playoff chance. It's because of goaltending, and it's because of the captain, Matt Sundin. Vesa Toskala was lights out versus Washington. Matt Sundin, another multi-point game. This guy is 18 multi-point games this season. He had a goal and 2 assists versus the Washington Capitals. As for Vesa, again, lights out versus the Washington Capitals. He plays back-to-back in spite of the fact that he's got the bad groin. If those two players continue on the pace, they have a chance.
They look like they're in their running shoes for the third period against Washington.
You guys ever see that movie, Angels in the Outfield? The little kid goes, it could happen.
Yeah. It
could happen. Hey, listen, Toronto Maple Leafs have gone 8-4-1 in their last 13 hockey games. Now, at that time, on February 5th, they were 8 points out of a playoff spot. Today, they're 5 points out of a playoff spot, but the Flyers have 2 games in hand, including this one. So they played 8-4-1. They've gone from 8 points, maybe to 5, but that really depends on a couple of games in hand. This one, another one for the Philadelphia Flyers. It is hard to make up ground in the National Hockey League at this time of the year. The Edmonton Oilers, they've gone 6-4-0 in their last 10 games, and they've actually gone from being 5 points out to 9 points out. So they've played above 500 hockey, and they're losing ground like crazy in the Western Conference playoff race.
You won't say it, but what you're saying is the 3-point game stinks. And we're on the verge of having another one today. You got the teams like the Islanders and the Leafs watching this, and you're destined, it looks like, to have some sort of overtime or shootout, and they'll all lose ground again.
Well, when you say it stinks, I'd have to do the...
Win or loss.
I would have to do the math. I'd have to do the math. How many times have the Leafs got a point in the 3-point game?
Well,
like, would they even be in the race if it wasn't for the 3-point game?
Pseudo-parity. The 11th and the 12th, they play Philadelphia. And I'll guarantee Baron plays both those games. And then the 15th, they play Buffalo. Then they go on the road for 3. That's their whole season.
Topic number...
Once the pressure comes?
Yeah. Well, you know what's going to happen. They're finishing 9th. They're finishing 1 or 2 points out.
Yeah.
Well, they're blowing all the draft chances. That's exactly.
But they do have a chance.
Yeah. Friday night, San Jose against Detroit. This was the game-winning goal scored by Devin Setoguchi. Now, everybody on the ice loses track of where the puck is, including the referee right behind the net. It's gone. It's where? It's in the net. The Sharks win the game. Here's where it was. Off the mesh. That's supposed to be dead whistle. Unreviewable. Should it be reviewed?
Yes, it should be reviewed. Video replay is to determine the legitimacy of goals.
Right.
That's not a goal. If we can use replay to determine that, then let's use replay.
Okay, if the play is offside at the blue line,
that's
and
the
it
whole
goes
issue.
in, should they review every offside then?
You can name every situation.
That
one is blatant. Now, listen.
You have to allow for the human element. You have to preserve the human element. Bob's absolutely right. We're going to review everything, then don't have the officials.
Hold on, that doesn't happen very often.
Well, I tell you, the goal is scored.
No, that a goal is scored when
potentially offside.
No, when the ball.
I would, you know what? Having said that, I would add it to the criteria.
Yeah.
If you've got 7 criteria, make it 8. Put it in there. The War Room wants to get it right, and that one is blatant if it goes up to the mesh.
I know Dregs in the first intermission talked about the research development department for the National Hockey League. So let's go back to 2004. You know, the millions they spent. Look at Lemieux. He's saying this went in to the mesh.
World Cup.
And what ends up happening? Well, all of Canada's happy because, sure enough, there we go. Scores! 2-0. Sakic.
Yeah. And Lemieux was calling for it to be blown down.
Well, the issue, too, is if it hits
ago.
the mesh, it's obviously out of play. If the mesh isn't there, the puck's
and every year at the general managers meeting, without fail, since they put mesh up, they've had the conversation. Should they allow pucks to go off the mesh and bounce back into play, just continue on? And they've always said no because it's not a true bounce, and you know.
Well, you know what I would do if I'm the home team? I'd have the mesh at my end as tight as possible. So that way, when it hits, it comes right out to the slot, and everyone's like, "Hey, where did this come from?" So maybe you play games like that. So maybe that's
not a bad call. You know, in arena football, they kick the ball off the back of the mesh. The guy picks it up, runs back the other way on a run back.
A mistake was made. Bottom line, a mistake was made.
So let's fix it. Let's fix it. We have games where we put our cameras almost in the building. Like, so pucks can hit the camera, and the play shouldn't be called dead, so we get better angles.
I hope we have our cameras in the building when we do games.
By the way, good on Mike Babcock and the Detroit Red Wings, because that one ultimately ended up costing them the game.
It did.
Not a whimper from them. They said, hey, it's unfortunate the referees made a mistake, but we make more mistakes than the refs. Well, I'm sure he was unhappy, but publicly afterwards, didn't go.
Well, I'll say this. It didn't seem like anybody on the ice had any idea where that puck was, including both.